This is B of C Live, the video and podcast series of Business of Cannabis. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com. Coming up on our B of C Live segment of the program, we'll connect with Jeannette VanderMarel. She was recently named the president and CEO of the Mexico-based cannabis company GoldCann, and we connect with VanderMarel to talk about that appointment. Jeannette, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jay. Always a pleasure to see you.
It's a pleasure to see you as well. And I'm only partially joking, but when people from Ontario get named president and CEO of companies, that's great news. When it's February here and that company that you're now the president and CEO of is in Mexico and you're in Mexico now, that just makes people angry, I think.
Thank you, Jay. I'm going to say it's, I left Ontario the other day and glad to be here in Mexico. The weather is stunning. The people are amazing. The growth and the gentrification, and you can really see that there's a sense of Mexico really moving forward. It's fantastic.
And well, I want to talk about GoldCann, but maybe even specifically, on that sort of upward swing of where Mexico is today. Talk a little bit about where the industry is there, or where cannabis is vis-a-vis like Canada or the US. Like, where on the sort of timeline or horizon is cannabis on that?
I would say we're 2003. It's really early. We're still waiting for legislation. There's a lot of illicit products on the market, a lot of quasi claims. There's no COAs. There's nothing. It's back in that really gray days, which presents for me huge opportunity. So we're really excited about that. We're currently waiting for legislation from the federal government on adult use. But we're not really waiting. We're moving forward with products in different categories that are under the current legislation. No sense sitting around waiting.
Right. So you want to talk about those? No, I agree. And if everybody could do it again here in Canada or in the US, I think that would be a really good strategy. Like, start building brands, start building, find your core audiences, and then sort of add a product in, as opposed to create all new categories with new consumers and all that. Talk a little bit about sort of, the products that are there now from the GoldCann perspective, and sort of what the uptake has been.
So it's been great. So we've certainly been meeting with distributors. We put together product catalogs. So one of the reasons I love GoldCann is such an experienced team. And I think in the cannabis industry, whether in Canada or in the emerging markets, there's not a lack of licenses or capacity. It's a lack of skilled management and experienced teams. So I am so blessed with GoldCann that we've got everyone is experienced in the cannabis industry, whether our legal team, project management, research, marketing, QA, our agronomist, the medical team. Everyone actually understands cannabis, so it's not this huge learning curve. So currently, GoldCann. We've got two pillars that we're working under. One is more of a health and wellness / beauty brand. And that's special in Mexico because Mexico, the biggest discretionary spending in Mexico is beyond food, shelter, and clothing and basic things, is certainly that health and wellness sector. And it's a country of 130 million people. And also we're working very strongly on the medical market. There is strong medical legislation to allow cannabinoids to be prescribed to patients and distributed, whether it be through allopathic or herbal medicines. So we're also going down that path. It's a little bit slower, so we're expediting on the health and wellness and beauty, and then add cannabinoids as allowed.
Yeah, it's a real strategy. Seems to
Thank you.
Wow. No, I'm not saying that. Just, it's a very compelling strategy, and I tend to look sort of in reverse on the Canadian side, like what coulda, shoulda, woulda. Right now that where we are, what is sort of the strategies that could have been employed early days to sort of build market share, build brand ID, build consumer base, build patient base, all those things. And do you end up doing that too in your mind, saying, wow, if 2003, we could have done X, Y, and Z from the Canadian landscape, and this is where we do, and then apply that to where you are now?
Hindsight is 2020, and I'm so fortunate to have that, and also see so much data we've gained in the last 10, 12 years from emerging markets and different ways that different jurisdictions are handling cannabis, as well as the growth of products that we've seen in Canada. So yes, I am fortunate to have that wisdom now, that I just think a lot of that vision was missing because we were so focused on sell weed, sell weed.
Right.
And I think we missed where the larger demographic, being those that are focused on health and wellness and quality of life, are really wanting. And the dried flower and combustibles is not something that GoldCann is looking at. It's just not a SKU. We're going to keep our lane, pick a lane and stay in it. Another key thing.
I want to ask a question because I mean, we are talking about it, I would call it on the more micro level, meaning like we look at what's happening in New York and they're taking lessons from other states and trying to apply them and doing it a little bit better, a little bit faster, and a little like cutting and pasting the things that work, recreating the things that don't, and then applying them there. From a country perspective, is Mexico or even other countries that sort of you have your eye on, like, are they doing the same thing? Here's what the States is doing. Here's what Canada is doing. Here's what's happening in Europe. Let's take a little bit of all those things and apply it to a 130 million person country that is adjacent to the US. Like, is there a bit of that thinking from a corporate, but also maybe a regulatory perspective?
So really great observation. And I agree. I think they've seen what's worked and also, some of the gaps in Canada, like Mexico's doing a great job in really focusing on equality and equity.
Yeah.
And making sure that there's an agrarian culture of the ejidos or ejidatarios, and they're going to be preferred for the agronomy. And so we're partnering with them. We were actually negotiating with some, met with some yesterday and some today, around hiring them to use their land to cultivate, because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
GoldCann is focused on ESG. So it's working with the ejidos, but it's also on our packaging, our inputs, and waste management, which is a huge issue in Mexico. Rod McDonald, the previous CEO, and obviously still senior advisor and director, and he cannot leave. He cannot leave. He's critical and pivotal. But he has a shrimp company here in Mexico. And we've been doing some research on using shrimp shells, which are discarded because they're full of collagen. And finding a way to extract that collagen in an environmentally safe way, basically just boiling them down, and use that in health and beauty products, because it's recycling that waste rather than just landfill.
Yeah, and that is one of those things that certainly, I mean, I think Canada just basically missed on regulating for sure. Same thing in many of the states, and this is the third or fourth time this conversation, certainly about packaging even, has come up in the past week. It's a huge miss and something that the industry needs to do better, but also regulators need to think about it before they legalize, right? Like it's actually upstream.
It is. And, Canada set a very high bar for everything. And I understood why they did it at the time, because, they were the first large G7 or nation to legalize cannabis, but the sky didn't fall. Nothing happened. And I mean, dried flower being put in child-resistant containers makes absolutely no sense. I don't know any kids or pets that are going to eat dried flower. And even if they did, there would be no result, right, other than maybe some good improved gut health.
Right. Well, that also, but some of the packaging is both child-proof and adult-proof. Like it's unopenable. Yeah.
I know many with arthritis that are taking it as a therapeutic, and they just have to destroy the package to get into it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, for especially even some of the edibles, or especially some of the edibles, like you literally, in Canada, we're getting off topic, but you need a scissors to open them, right? Like you actually need to cut them.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because again, obviously we want to ensure and keeping the federal mandates in Canada, keep it away from children, out of the hands of children, but also, of course, it comes to keep it on the illicit market. Yet, obviously, and I am going off topic, but I'll rant, the excise tax, the packaging, the lack of marketing, the lack of consumer education makes it sure that and the 10 milligram maximum on edibles is a way to ensure that the illicit market will continue to thrive in the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jeannette, it's nice to talk to you. Congratulations on the appointment. We love hearing about what's happening in Mexico. We'll have you back as things develop and as legislation gets closer. And then, I could see a whole path where we talk about legislation in Mexico, the market in Mexico, international trade. All those things will be really juicy as they happen. But I think, as you know, and I know, our best laid conversations rarely are on the timelines that we had anticipate, but it's good to talk about strategy short of that as well, because I think that's insightful. Thank you for joining us here this morning, and we will connect with you down the road. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Jay. Always a pleasure. Enjoy the weather.
Oh, how dare you. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was BFC Live. If you like this program, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us wherever you find your podcasts. We're able to do what we do because of ongoing partnerships with Alterna Savings, Cannabis at Work, Cannabis Benchmark, Ken Delta, Gallagher, Headset, and Torque & Mains. Find out all that we do at businessofcannabis.com.